printer ink costs around $12,000 per gallon. Human blood costs about $400 per gallon. So the next time your printer runs out mid-document and you feel like it's slowly draining your life force, well, that's actually the cheaper option, and it gets worse from there. The cheapest replacement ink runs about $13 per ounce. The most expensive hits $75. That's the same ounce that gets you fine champagne, designer perfume, or, again, actual human blood. And what does it get you in printer ink? Enough to print a few tax returns and a boarding pass before that little blinking warning light kicks in and ruins your afternoon. Here's the thing, though. This isn't just a quirk of modern life. This is a trap. A deliberate, century-old business model that was deployed on the entire population and dressed up as consumer convenience. And once you understand exactly how it works, you'll never look at that low ink warning the same way again. The model is called razor and blades pricing. Gillette invented it in the early 1900s. Sell the razor cheap, then profit on the blades forever. Printer companies copied it so aggressively it almost looks like plagiarism. HP, Epson, Canon, they often sell printers at a loss, literally. HP's own CEO has said publicly that the company loses money on every printer it sells. The device sitting on your desk cost them more to build than they charged you. That sounds generous. It is not generous. The actual money comes from the cartridges. Industry analysts estimate profit margins on branded ink cartridges land somewhere between 60 and 90%. The ink itself costs manufacturers a few cents to produce. They charge you dollars, sometimes $30 or $40 for a small plastic container holding less liquid than a hotel shampoo bottle. And here is the part that makes it work so well. Once you own the printer, you are effectively committed. You are not just a customer anymore. You are a recurring revenue stream with a mortgage and a home office. The printer was never the product. You were. Now let's talk about what you're actually buying when you buy ink, because it is not what you think. A lot of that overpriced ink never even reaches the paper. Consumer Reports ran tests simulating the way most people actually print, a few pages here and there throughout the week. What they found was genuinely shocking. Many popular printers burned through more than half their ink on internal maintenance cycles. Every time you turn the printer on, it runs a cleaning sequence, squirts ink onto a small internal pad, and calls it quality control. A few of the worst models they tested put only 20 to 30% of their ink onto an actual page. Read that again, 20 to 30%. You are buying the most expensive liquid in your home at $12,000 per gallon, and a significant portion of it goes directly into a sponge inside a machine you paid $80 for. Consumer Reports estimated the annual extra cost of owning a wasteful model at over $100 per year in ink that never printed a single word. Not a document, not a photo, nothing. Just quietly evaporated into a maintenance pad while your printer congratulated itself on its own upkeep. So you have high price, low volume, and half of it wasted before it reaches the page. That is already a deeply bad deal. But the story has one more layer. And this one is where it gets genuinely bold. HP introduced a service called Instant Ink. Pay a monthly subscription fee, and they ship replacement cartridges to you automatically before you run out. It sounds convenient, and honestly, for some people, it probably is. But here is what they do not lead with in the marketing. The cartridges are tied to your subscription. Cancel the plan, and HP remotely deactivates your cartridges, even if they are still full. The ink is physically sitting inside your printer, in your home, and it stops working because a server somewhere decided the billing period is over. You do not own the ink. You are renting the ability to print. HP's own CFO described this arrangement as locking customers into a longer-term relationship. That's a direct quote. That's the language they use internally when talking about their own customers. And if you clicked something called HP Plus during the initial setup, possibly while you were just trying to get the thing connected to Wi-Fi, your printer is now permanently locked to HP cartridges only. No third-party alternatives, no cheaper options, no way to undo it. One distracted click during a Tuesday afternoon setup process, and you've agreed to a lifetime exclusive supply arrangement with a printer company. There is no opt-out, there is no reversal. The choice is made, and it is made forever. It gets one step further still. HP pushed firmware updates that quietly blocked cheaper third-party cartridges from working in printers that had previously accepted them without any issue. Cartridges people had already purchased, sitting in a drawer ready to go, suddenly rejected by a machine they owned outright. A class action lawsuit followed. HP settled for over $1.3 million. Then, according to later legal filings, they reportedly did something very similar again in 2022 and 2023. The cycle, much like the printer's own maintenance cleaning cycle, just keeps repeating. And this is the part that ties the whole thing together. The printer was always a delivery mechanism, not for documents, for you. For your ongoing dependence on their ink at $12,000 per gallon, much of which your printer will quietly drink before it ever touches a page. The hardware gets you in the door, the cartridge system keeps you there, and the firmware updates make sure you cannot leave through the back. The entire structure is built around one assumption, that once you own the hardware, you're stuck. The cartridges only fit one machine. The machine only accepts one brand. The brand controls the price. And you, standing in your kitchen trying to print a return label before the post office closes, control nothing. Now, the exit routes do exist. EcoTank printers use cheap bottled ink and can save you hundreds over a printer's lifetime. Laser printers skip liquid ink entirely for everyday documents. Third-party cartridges, where your printer still allows them, can cut costs by 30 to 60%. These options are real, but they are deliberately positioned to feel complicated, risky, or just slightly out of reach, because confusion and friction are not accidents in this industry. They are features. A customer who feels uncertain stays put. A customer who stays put keeps buying ink. If any of this made you look at your printer differently, there's a lot more on this channel about the systems quietly shaping what things cost and why. Subscribing is free, which is more than can be said for your cyan cartridge. Because the printer ink story is really just one version of a much older idea. Find something people need regularly, make the entry point cheap or even free, then own the refill. It worked for Gillette in 1904. It works for printers today. And if you look carefully at your phone plan, your coffee machine, your gaming console, and the ink on this very video, it's working in more places than most people realize. They gave you a free razor. You just didn't read the part about the blades.